Good day and greetings from the Great White North. My name is Prickly Poo and welcome to day 360 of a year of change. We are in the 60s now. 5 days left. Plus sleep years if you have it, and then a finale thing. But in general, we're in the 360s. We're in the last little bit. One of the things we had sort of talked about this yesterday a little bit, just sort of things that will keep us going once this year is done. And one really important thing I think is to pay attention to the little things that make us proud and let us know that we've actually accomplished some work. But I've said this before. I think that having a good support system is a really, really important thing as well. The problem is that we don't always get the support that we need for doing this. Now we've talked about this topic before, so I'm not going to sort of rehash everything, but I'm going to rehash some of the stuff. Now, for a lot of us, I think we can at least understand why we don't tend to get it from close friends and family a lot. Really, when we're first starting out, once we've had a little bit of success, then sometimes it might be there. But in general, I mean, these are people that have heard us say, "I'm going to lose weight." Time and time and time again, and they've heard it over and over and over. So it's not something that we should really be expecting from them. That when we say, "Well, I want to lose some weight," that they're going to go, "Oh, well, great, I'll help you out with this, this, and this," because they know that we just simply we don't do it. So I think that sort of adds to that. But every now and then you will get someone that, especially after you've lost a little bit of weight, that they give you a little boost, or they'll say, "Oh, it's obviously working." They try not to sort of bring up too much of it because they don't want to talk about it all the time. But sometimes you'll get support that way. But every now and then you will get people that actually will get even worse as things go. And I saw this on an entry on MyFitnessPal, and I've seen it before with other people as well, that their family just simply isn't giving them the support that they need. And that, I mean, they're trying their best. They're trying to watch what they eat. They're trying to eat healthier foods. They're trying to do some exercise. And they just seem to get hit with a wall every step of the way. That the people are like actively fighting against them to do this. And I think a lot of that is, as odd as it sounds, a bit of a jealousy thing. And we've all done it at some point, myself included. I'm guilty of this as well. We've all seen that person that has decided to start losing weight, and then they start losing weight, and they're actually successful with it. And because we've tried so many times and we failed, although we're sort of happy for them, but we still look at them and go, "God, I wish I could do that. I wish I had that." And there are times when you just kind of go, "I hate your face because you're succeeding where I failed so many times." And I mean, we know what sort of struggle it is, so it's not that it diminishes. I mean, there are some people out there that just go, "Oh, well, no, I just stopped eating and started exercising." It's not perfectly easy. You fought and screamed and kicked and struggled your way through just like we all have. Those are the people that you really kind of just go, "I really want you to die from super herpes, like of the face." But it's in general, though, you have people that, if they are having some success, that it's a little more tempting to sort of go the other way and say to someone, "Well, just have a cookie. It's fine because we aren't doing anything to change the way that we eat." So we want to have those people sort of joining in with that. And I think at some level, it's a matter of sort of sabotaging other people. Whether it's conscious or not, it doesn't really matter. But I think that some people do run into that. And it can be really, really difficult. Like with me, it's fairly easy. I buy my own groceries. I'm the only one who eats it. I'm the only one that has to deal with like the aftermath and my cravings and everything else. I don't have to really sort of mold my life around, another group of people. But if you have a family that you're trying really hard, you're going out, if you're buying the food, you've got to deal with the complaints. You've got to deal with people whining and sobbing because they don't want to change the way that they eat the way that you do. Because we know what that's like. If someone was to say to you, "You have to do this," and too fucking bad, well, we're going to be defiant anyway. So you have to deal with all that. And even if you do have a couple of people that are, aren't actively against you, that are saying, "Good enough, well, that'll be, your thing," you still run the risk, and this has happened many, many times, even to me, when I've bought my own food. They can eat what they want to eat. That's perfectly fine. And then I come back, they've eaten their food, and they've eaten my food as well. I would like to say, oh, well, I've never done that myself. Which, actually, you know what? I don't think I ever have. Because it's, anytime I've ever lived with anyone, it's like, your shit is your shit, my shit is my shit, leave it alone. But I never really ran into that issue where someone was dieting and I wasn't, and I went and ate their food. But it has happened to a number of people, because you do see it, quite frequently. And it's just sort of that, well, this is something new and different, I'm going to try that, even though it just leaves sort of the extra crap that we have to deal with. But this is turning into a big complaint thing, which I don't really mean for it to. I guess my point that I'm trying to make is, if you're running into something where you're not getting the support that you need, it can be very, very difficult to stay on track, especially where we're sort of, on our own at the end of this year, which I think is a little more internal. For me, I'm sort of on my own because I'm not going to be doing this every single day, but there are ways you can get around it. If you're not getting the support that you need from home, as devastating as that might be, because that's the one spot where you really should be getting the most support that you can. Whether or not they're doing it with you, having someone go actively against what your goal is can be really discouraging. And it's no wonder that inevitably you get to a point where you're like, there's no point in me trying to do this. I get hit with complaints left, right, and center. I can't keep my regular food in there. I'm still surrounded by all the food that I really shouldn't be eating on top of everything else. So yes, of course, I mean, it's, that failure is there. And it's not a big surprise that it happens. But if you're not getting that at home, then seek out someone else, somewhere else that you can go to get the support that you need. And it's not necessarily a matter of, finding what they can provide for you either, so much as what you can take away from it. It doesn't have to be a one-on-one. I mean, you can go do the group therapy thing. You can go to Overeaters Anonymous, which is not for me and not for some other people, and they are for some people. You can look at discussion groups. I almost burped. You can look at discussion groups. I don't know why, because I haven't done anything. Sorry. You can go to discussion groups like with Weight Watchers or the other spots. What Jenny Craig? There's another one. I don't think there's one just for men. Anyway, any weight loss program that you can think of that you can go and talk to people that you can sort of, even if it's just sort of chatting with people on MyFitnessPal, or go up to different forums, something like that. And even if there isn't an interaction between you and another person, it doesn't really have to be. A lot of the stuff, like when I first started out, I found as part of the reason why I started introducing other YouTubers, because when I start watching what they're doing, even though they've never spoken to me, they're doing their own thing. They might have different methods. They might start and stop. They might completely vanish for a year and then come back. And I just made a bunch of noise. I'm sorry. No matter what the situation is, there's always something that I can take away from it. And being able to see someone else go through the same struggle, I know this is sort of cruel because you look at it and go, okay, well, they're just as miserable as I am, but when you look at that and you can say they are able to do this, even if you never speak with them, even if you never meet, you can still take something from that. And I found that was really, really helpful when I was starting to do this. You're going to find your support wherever you can find it. And it doesn't necessarily have to be an interpersonal relationship with someone. It can be, just going up and reading forums. You may never even post. It might just be a matter of seeing other people that are going through the same struggle that you are. MyFitnessPal is great for that because, I haven't been as active as I should be. I plan on being much more active in the coming weeks because I have tons of time after this week. And get caught up on a lot of stuff like other videos and things like that. But it's great when you're going through the feed every day just to see, the successes that people have had and, some of the hurdles that they're getting over. Sometimes they're just people complaining and saying, I didn't do anything all day today and I ate 4 cakes and it's been a horrible day. And just seeing the response from other people going, yeah, it's a shitty day, but pick it up tomorrow. You're fine. Today's a wash. It's not going to ruin everything. Just being able to sort of read through the dialogue that way, even if it's not directed at you, even if you're not involved, you can get a lot of support from that. And that's a huge, huge thing, is being able to sort of not necessarily stay motivated, but to stay in some frame of mind where you just simply don't say, you know what, enough is enough. I don't give a shit. I'm just going to give up and go back to the way that I was before. And I think it's a little more difficult for us to get there because we've come so far in the past year. But it's always going to be there. That risk will always be there. And it won't take much, just a couple of weeks of, not tracking every day, skipping a day of exercise, saying, well, I'll have a cheat day and then I'll start again. And then, well, I'll have a couple of cheat days and then, well, I'll start Monday. We know what our pattern is like. We know all the different excuses that we give ourselves, and we believe them because we're very, very good at it. But I find that being able to actually still not even really interact, just to be able to have that connection one way or the other, whether it's something that you're contributing or whether it's just something that you're getting from someone else, is really, really important for staying on track for what we're trying to do. And so if you are at a stage where, you feel that your family isn't supporting you or your friends or anything like that, start seeking out other sources. And it can be just something that you've read. It can be something that you've watched. It can be something that you've listened to. There's podcasts out there. There are videos. There are a whole slew of things that you can go after, just so that you can, sort of, even in your head, just go, I can relate to that. That is going to help you. And I mean, there's nothing that I can say that's ever going to make it easier for you to deal with family members that are going against what you're trying to do. Whether it's a matter of them actively going against you or just complaining or not being supportive at all or just ignoring everything that you're trying to do, because it's not going to ever make it any better. The only thing I can suggest is that at some point, you have to realize that it's okay to be selfish from time to time. And this is one of those moments when everything seems to be going against you and you're just like, I'm not doing enough for these people or that person or doing this and this and this. There has to come a time when you look at yourself and say, I need to do this for me. I don't give a shit about anyone else. I'm doing this for me. Whatever your reason is. I don't care what it is. If you think it's shallow and say, I want to do this so I look better. That's it. There's no other reason. Not health, not, psychological issues, none of that shit. I just want to look better. Then have that be your reason. It doesn't matter. Everyone's shallow anyway, so it doesn't really matter. But there's nothing wrong with doing this strictly for yourself. And although, we can sort of say to ourselves, well, I want this to be, I was going to say partner, but I want to be, more attractive to my husband or wife or boyfriend or girlfriend or whatever. I don't like the word partner because it makes me think that you're fighting crime and that you've got a 70s mustache. Man or woman, you can have them both. I don't care. But whatever the situation is, if you're saying, well, I want to look better for them and, I want to get healthier and everything else, it doesn't matter what the reason is. It's perfectly okay to say, what, I don't care what the reason is. I just want to look better so that when I look in the mirror, I like what I see for once. And if that's what it's going to take to keep you on track, then have that be your reason. It doesn't matter. And unfortunately, there are some of us out there that are just going to have to say, what, I don't need family and friends supporting me on this. I'm going to do this, and I'm going to just do this on my own. I'm going to do this and do this. How about that? Let's face it, for the vast majority of us, we have been dealing with the weight and the embarrassment and the self-loathing and everything else alone for a very, very long time. We're very good at it. We can handle a lot of stuff, we can internalize a lot of things and sort of go solo for a lot of things. So why not this? So if you find that you're just like, I'm not getting any support anywhere, I've been looking elsewhere and nothing's really clicked, and I don't really feel right in being selfish or anything like that, then just say, what, I'm going to do this on my own. And you will eventually find something. There are a ton of things out there. It was almost a weekly basis. Well, it was a weekly basis for a long time that we were able to even find people just on YouTube that were either losing weight or were starting to or had finished losing the weight and being able to follow up with them. And we have new people that are in there that are sort of just starting out and they've got different methods and they're going a different road. But whatever's working for them, then fine, let it work for them. You can take away so much from that, whether or not you're interacting with them, whether you're leaving comments or whether you're sort of following a blog that they have or whatever it is. Just being able to see a real person that's not like a self-help book or, see someone who's already ripped and athletic saying, here's what you need to do to lose weight. It's a little bit different seeing someone going through the same stuff that we've gone through over the past year and making that connection, because something eventually is going to just sort of switch on and you're going to go, I've gone through that, or I'm going through that. And you'll make that connection, and that's going to give you that support. I know it sounds really odd thinking, well, seeing someone miserable is going to make me feel better. It does. It really does. But they don't stay miserable forever. We've had our shitty weeks. We've had our shitty days. But in the long run, things have been fairly positive through the whole thing. We could bitch and we can complain and we can say, oh, I've gained this week, or I'm stuck on a plateau and nothing's working there. But overall, I mean, we've made quite a bit of progress. And I think part of that is because we've been able to make those connections and sort of relate to other people and share stories back and forth and say, yes, I'm having a really horrible day, but we'll have someone that will call us on our bullshit, and say, well, then stop eating that. You're not supposed to. So keep looking. If you haven't found something yet where you really have that sort of that connection, that relation to someone that you can say, this, I'm going to follow this person. Or just, I read this person or I listen to them or whatever it is. It doesn't have to be an interpersonal thing where it's one-on-one or where you're actually seeing someone in real life. You can get it from anywhere. And there are literally millions of us out there. There's over 100 million of us in North America alone that are going through the exact same thing. Believe me, there are spots out there where you will find that connection that you need to keep that support going, to keep on going after this year. And even if you're just sort of starting out and you've either fallen behind or you're coming back in or you're starting, saying, okay, well, it worked a little bit and then I left and then I'm coming back, whatever it is, you'll still be able to go and find someone that's at the same stage that you're in, and you'll be able to make that connection with them. And I think it's really, really important that, throughout all of this that we've done, the few things that we've sort of had in common with people is the honesty. We want someone that's going to tell us that we're being stupid when we're being stupid. We want someone that is willing to help, and I think almost all of us are at that stage, that we really, we want to be successful, we want to lose the weight, but we want to help other people with this as well. And even if you're just sort of watching, and because this is, we've all done it at some point when you're just sort of sitting and watching or listening to someone or reading on, what they've done. And you think, okay, well, I need to get to a certain point and then I could do the same thing for other people. There's just very few out there that I haven't met any yet in the entire year that way. No, I want to lose weight. I don't give a fuck about anybody else. I'm just doing this for me. But if you do want to do that, you're allowed to. It's okay. So for any of you out there that are struggling with this, that don't have the support that you need, go seek it out. It is out there. And you don't have to, have a really deep, involved personal relationship with someone to get that support from them. You can get it from any number of things. There's from people you'll never meet, people that you'll never see. It is out there, but you do have to actively look for it. And even worst case scenario, if you decide to go this alone and say, I'm just going to do this for me, then use that. And just, I don't care if you end up losing, 25 pounds strictly out of spite. If it's working, it's working. As long as you're healthy, things are good. We've sort of run through that as well. But if you are having issues with this, especially with family or friends or something, bring it up. I know that sounds horrible because the majority of people are just sort of tiptoeing on eggshells all the time, but you need to be able to bring it up and say to them, you know what, I'm trying to do something to better myself. I don't give a shit if you want to follow me on this, but this needs to stop and that needs to stop, and we can't simply keep going the way that we're going. And it might blow up in your face. They might agree with it. There's no way of really knowing until it actually happens. But in general, at the very least, no matter what happens, you can say, I was honest, I came right out and said it. It doesn't have to start a fight. You don't have to start by punching someone in the face and going, now you have to listen to me. You can simply say, we need to talk, which is always a horrible, horrible phrase to hear. Either that or listen. That's always bad. If you hear a conversation starting out that way, you're either going to get dumped or a fight's going to start eventually. So try not to start it with listen, because that's going to be bad. Completely unrelated, now that I've said that, I'm going to start hacking and coughing here. Yeah, we're going to throw that in there. Go take a look at, actually, now that I think about it, go take a look at Dara O'Brien. He has a little segment about that, of when the good time is to say listen. There are ways you can get around it. Anyway, completely unrelated to weight loss, but it's very, very funny. Go up, take a look. Very funny. I might actually put a link in there. No, I won't put a link in there. You can go look at it yourself. Anyway, that's really all I wanted to sort of talk about. I want to try to keep this relatively shit 20 minutes. Well, shorter than half an hour anyway. There we go. That's a little bit better. I think it's just really important to sort of, as we're wrapping things up, it was the main reason why we started looking to other YouTubers, just so that we had that sort of for lack of a better term, that kindred spirit, someone that we could go to and see that, we aren't alone in this. And you never are. There are millions and millions and millions of us that are going through the exact same thing. And whether we're just starting into, the phase that you're in, or whether we've come out of it already, we still have that experience. We've gone through the shitty times. We've gone through the self-loathing. We've gone through the frustration and just that strong, strong desire to say to hell with it and quit and go back to what we were doing before. But you will make it through. It's tough. Not going to lie to you. It's very, very hard to do. If it wasn't, we'd all be thin. So we know how hard it is. And it does get harder when you don't have, the support system that you need. But go look for it. It is out there. You can get it. It's just everywhere. Yeah, I would start naming off places again, but it's literally everywhere. And so take a look. You will find something that's going to help you make that connection. It's going to click, and it's going to help carry you through those moments that are really, really tough. Not every single time, but for the most part, it's going to get you through those rocky moments, and you will come out on the other side eventually. So anyway, I'm going to keep on rambling and try to do some nice aphorism to finish this off. I'm trying to think of what can I do? It's like footprints in the sand sort of thing. So pretend I said something really deep and pithy. And no, I don't have a lisp. I'm just saying pithy. So we'll pretend like I ended on that, and everyone's going, oh my god, it's amazing. So we'll end on that note. But for right now, actually no, for now, that's it. Now I've completely buggered everything up. Pretend I said something even more deep and profound after that, and then something humorous to sort of cap everything up. That's going to work for us. Right now, I am going to leave this video here, so thank you very much for watching. If you liked it, please hit the like button for me. And in the meantime, keep yourself warm and fuzzy, and I'll see you in the next video.